Hey guys, welcome to day 4, approaching hour 72 in about 10 or so minutes. So it'll be 3 full days without any kind of food, straight water fasting, electrolytes. I'm throwing in the towel. I know when to call it quits, and the sleep has been untenable. Basically, last night's rest was less than the night before. I maybe got an hour and a half of 2 hours, an hour and a half of sleep. It hasn't been great. Taking some sleeping supplements, melatonin, some sleepies. It's a kind of a over-the-counter sedative, but basically those have done a number on my stomach. I can't tell if it's from the fasting or from the sleep deprivation right now. Any kind of mental clarity or edge there is totally canceled out by the poor digestion caused from the sleep deprivation. So maybe wasn't the best idea to start this 5-day fast on during my bout of insomnia. I was just pretty insistent and excited to start it. So yeah, that insistence backfired a little bit, and in about 20 or so minutes I'll be starting my refeeding, eating some bone broth, a little bit of watermelon, and beginning that refeeding process. It's not going to be as severe or as do or die on as a 5-day fast. You're going to have a longer refeeding period. So doing a simple 3 days, 72 hours, the refeeding is important, yes, but it's not going to be as long as a protocol, which I have a little relief there. The 5 days of refeeding is a lot less than the 48 hours of refeeding after a 3-day fast. So it's bittersweet. This is a new experience for me. I've never hit the 72-hour mark, so there's a little bit of a victory in that, but I really wanted to do the 5 days, and the sleep situation has just been completely unmanageable. I'm taking caffeine. I usually don't take caffeine ever. I leave it for emergency situations, and this definitely calls for a cup of black coffee. I had a couple cups this morning, and I'm feeling enough wakefulness just to manage through the day. But if this continued for 2 more nights, I just couldn't imagine how rough a shape I'd be in on Friday. So yeah, the refeeding in theory should help with the sleep. I won't have an empty stomach if I have to take sleep supplements. So yeah, I wish I had something more profound to say in regards to food and consumption. Going 72 hours without it maybe wasn't the same kind of breakthrough I would have had if I did the full 5 days. Obviously, the food cravings are still here a little bit, but just knowing that I'm going to break the fast in the next 20 or so minutes makes it a lot more manageable. Gym was good yesterday, but I mentioned that already. Yeah, today the energy levels are just so to the floor. I can't tell if it's the fasting or just the simple fact that the sleep deprivation has caught up with me. And the next time I attempt something of a longer period of fast, I'm going to have to make sure that my sleep is just on track before I start this, because starting off with mild insomnia and then food poisoning the day before probably didn't help. So yeah, my insistence on just making now the time to do the 5-day fast, it's kind of backfired. I feel bittersweet about things, and I really wish I could have made the 5 days. But yeah, like if you have trouble sleeping normally, this probably won't help you. You're probably going to have more trouble sleeping, so make sure your sleep is dialed in. That's probably the biggest takeaway of this experiment. If you're going to do something extreme in regards to a fasting protocol, definitely make sure your sleep schedule is all set in stone and that you can sleep at night, because yeah, between the two, I just can't tell what's doing a number on my body. Usually, sleep deprivation on its own is enough to throw my digestive system out of whack. So, doing both at the same time has been challenging, to say the least. Refeeding begins today. I'm going to be doing some bone broth, just really simple liquid foods. By the end of the night, I'm going to be doing a little bit of soft vegetables. I got some green beans to eat, and then I'll be doing some soft cooked eggs, hard boiled or scrambled. I'm really looking forward to that. That's going to be nice. Tomorrow will be more solid food introduced to the diet, a little more oatmeal, something fibrous, kind of get the digestive tract working. I'm happy with 72 hours. It's a new record. The previous record was 40 hours, and I slept well on that for the most part, but it was just a bad combination of these short bursts of insomnia I get time to time, and then my insistence on just pushing through it instead of maybe waiting until my sleep caught up and I was in a better state. So this isn't the end of my fasting journey. Not sure how much I'm going to post for the future in regards to fasting. Maybe it'll be more of a retrospective on my success instead of putting all this kind of continuous content out for this particular fast. Thanks for all the support, the kind words. I tried my best, but sometimes you just gotta know when you've bit off more than you can chew, and for right now, that's just the situation. Final weight, I weighed myself this morning. I was down to 182. So for anyone keeping track, I was about 188 on the higher end, rounding up to 189. That's around 7 pounds in 3 days, which is pretty extreme for anybody. That's a lot of weight to lose. Visually, the fat is still there. It's when your digestive system is empty, you kind of don't have the same inflammation as you'd have on a high processed diet. I'll admit that's kind of a bigger issue for me personally. You know, processed food is so readily available, and you can go to any kind of takeout or fast food place and have your meal ready in 5 minutes or less. So convenience is a big part of my diet. As much as I do enjoy cooking, I've got so many other things on the go concurrently that sometimes I just like to find a little bit of extra time, and that means skipping out on my nutrition, unfortunately. But yeah, overall, I think it's been a great learning experience. It's humbling. The most important thing in life is probably sleep, because without that, your just entire system is going to be off kilter, and the daily function is going to be so much poorer. You know, brain fog, forgetfulness. Sleep is so important, and I wanted to have a more profound takeaway on food, because understanding that food is fuel doesn't take a 72-hour fast. You know, you do a 24-hour fast or a 40-hour fast, and you go to try to work out, your body doesn't have that glucose or the fuel it wants to perform at a high level. And I'm not an Olympic athlete, you know. I'm not out there running the 200-meter sprint. I'm just a regular guy going to the gym, and if a regular guy can't work through a bad diet, you're just limiting yourself. You're shooting yourself in the foot if you're trying to outwork a bad diet. It's just not going to happen. You're going to have some obviously small health improvements, and it's better than nothing. But if you're a little more serious about trying to push your body and be healthier, you need to use food as fuel. And so I hope at the very least I can take that lesson and counteract some of my bad habits, which include eating way too much processed junk and using food as a reward for getting through a work week or tackling a big challenge. But yeah, I just wanted to give you guys a little update. Not sure if I'm going to be showing the refeeding process. That's not quite as glamorous or interesting, in my opinion, as going without. But it's just as important. If you try to do a 72-hour fast and then start eating pizza and French fries straight off the bat, you're going to have a really bad time, I imagine. So yeah, it's been a learning experience. I'd recommend anyone interested start with maybe just a 12-hour fast. Start eating from 9 a.m. and stop eating at 9 p.m. That's a pretty decent window. You're basically just cutting out any snacking after 9 p.m. because you'd be surprised how many calories you can eat when you're sitting on the sofa watching some Netflix with a bag of chips. It adds up. But I understand everyone has little habits that help them get through and enjoy life. So I'm not gonna pass judgment on people who feel like that's a need for them to keep trucking along. Yeah, it's been fun, but I know when it's time to call it quits. And if I get another night of 2 hours to 3 hours of sleep, I just couldn't imagine how awful that would feel, especially compounded with your body craving food this badly. Like, it's tough. But yeah, that'll be it, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. I'm not sure what the next batch of content is going to look like, but I was pretty excited to share this with you. And it's too bad that it didn't go the full 5 days, but 72 hours is pretty admirable. I think going for 24 hours for some people is a lot of time to go without food. Some people need to snack throughout the entire day to just fuel themselves, that hangriness. But if you push yourself, keep telling yourself you can go without it, it's kind of a liberating feeling. You're not tied down to your normal schedule. You find more time. There's no cleaning dishes, there's no cooking, there's no going out waiting for your takeout. It's just time to enjoy and to utilize how you want, which for some people too might be a great feeling. And continuing, I'll probably be doing 24-hour fasts once a week. Not sure if I need to share those, but those are relatively easy. I sleep well on the 24 and 40 hours for that matter. But yeah, it was just a compounding 1 week of insomnia plus this long stretch of going without food. My body just is telling me, now it's time to break the fast. It's good to have food in your stomach when you're taking any kind of sleep supplements like melatonin or sleepies. It's like a sedative. So yeah, hopefully I can wean myself off of those. I usually always do. And then keep that sleep hygiene up for the foreseeable future. And like I said, I hope to do the 5-day fast. Again, it's going to be down the line. It's going to be at least 1 or 2 months. I'm thinking sometime in November. But I'm not going to set any kind of date. It's going to have to be a time where my health overall maybe is or my nutrition overall is in a better position than it was at the current and the start of this fast. yeah, off to bigger and better things. You know, setting a new record is pretty nice. Every minute past that 40-hour mark was a new environment, a new kind of territory that I hadn't been in yet. And yeah, I hope it kind of inspired you guys to look at your own kind of nutrition, and maybe you don't need as much as you think you do. You know, there's a lot of things in life you can go without, and for so many people it's all about what can I consume, what's going to fill my next, what am I going to consume, what am I going to spend my money on and fill my life with. You know, for a lot of people it's just things, and that can feel kind of hollow at times, because what's more important than having things is having a community, having people to share experiences with, and to you know, enjoy life, and just consuming and taking a step back from something like that's so essential like food. You kind of get a new perspective on that entire thing. So yeah, kind of a longer one, but I think it was well worth it. These are kind of my final thoughts, and if I have anything more to share, I'll be able to send that your guys' way. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.